Hello, my name's Stuart Cross, this is Strategy Confidential, and this is episode 32. Whose agenda are you working on? The other day I was having a conversation with a CEO of a family-owned business, and he was complaining to me that the strategy that he and his team had developed wasn't really being delivered. So I asked him what his strategic objectives were and what projects he'd set up to deliver that strategy. And he looked at me slightly blankly and then admitted that he hadn't really set any specific objectives and there weren't really any specific projects. He was just hoping that people will do what was needed within their everyday work. You know, there was no agenda, there were no programs, there were no initiatives. Now, you don't want to get burdened with bureaucracy, but the successful delivery of any strategy requires something of a structured approach. It requires an agenda. Now, there are two elements to a good strategic agenda. The first is a set of priority strategic objectives. What do I mean by that? Let me give you an example. Back in the 1990s, Asda, before it was sold to Walmart, had a really successful growth strategy, and that was based on 5 objectives. So the first one was that they wanted to have bigger stores than their rivals. The second is they wanted to have friendly service. Number 3 for them was for them to be 5 to 10% cheaper than their rivals. Number 4 was to achieve about 25% own brand sales in their store. And their 5th one was to have a serious clothing offer, so the George brand that they had been developing. So those were their 5 strategic objectives that they were working on. The other element of their agenda was a whole series of projects aligned to each of those 5 objectives. Now, over time, the projects change. You know, the project may only last 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. But the objectives remained fairly consistent, fairly constant for 5, 6, 7 years over the life of that strategy. Now, if you don't have any objectives, if you don't have that agenda, what you end up doing is just reacting to whatever your competitors are doing or just trying to find the latest opportunity. Now, that's fine in itself. You know, you need to be opportunistic and you need to be aware of what your competitors are doing. But if that's all you'll do, you'll never have sustainable growth. To do that, you need to have your own agenda. So ask yourself, whose agenda are you working on?